know, this is El Moda Conservative, and we have back in the studio with us awesome guest Shayna Smith, and got a great episode ahead for you. Before I forget, please click the notification bell. All you people who have yet to subscribe, and you'll be able to get notified of all our awesome episodes going forward. Leave comments in the comment section. While you're watching this, as things come to mind, questions, comments. So, Shayna, how are you doing today?
I am well, doing
That
well.
that is a very good thing. I can
Glad to be.
attest, coming from someone who was not well, who was sick last week, and coming out of that, people have a new appreciation for good health and things that most of us take for granted. So it's good. Um, yeah, we are energized and fired up and ready to go. So this episode, we're gonna first start off talking about Maduro, the dictator that was nabbed from Venezuela, right? And later on, we're gonna talk about Illuminati and how it's about as real as a spaghetti monster in the clouds. And if anybody doubts that or wants to challenge me on that, please let's get a conversation going. And so we're gonna just throw some things out and pick that apart a little. So as everyone knows, as most of the free world and second world and third world knows right now, President dictator de facto Maduro was confiscated from his military compound in Venezuela in the middle of the night. And we were nice enough to him to bring him to New York City where he's going to get a trial with a jury. And we actually asked him how him and his wife plead. And so there's going to be a trial for him. It's a great day. It was a great day for the people in Venezuela, right? And the people in the US that are from Venezuela. Everybody just dancing. People giving out rock candy and candy corn, and people just break dancing and so happy. They don't know what to do. So um we'll uh we'll start with that. Is there anything you want to mention first? Share any feelings you have about that?
Yeah, I have a close friend who she's from Colombia, but she spent most of her childhood in Venezuela as her grandparents lived there. So she still has a lot of family there. And I spoke to her the week that this news was reported, and her family are rejoicing. They're jumping for joy.
What I tell you.
So they're jumping for joy. Maduro wasn't a nice. He's not a nice guy. He's a Marxist dictator, um, who is a communist. Um, and his people who had his people in despair for what since the early 2000s.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, like Venezuela was a country that was flourishing
Right.
um, until he came to power. Uh, and notice when he came to power, socialism came and the country began to fall off. People began to
Right.
starve.
And then we've seen within the last few years several uprisings and rioting there because of the oppressive government, but because of the communist government trying to take over. With the backing and the endorsement of Cuba and Russia, they love people like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like enforcing the Roman Empire. The sun never sets on the Roman Empire because we're all over the world. That's what we want. We want to be in different places all over. And if people are on the same page as us and they're communists and speaking the same language and we get buddy buddy, maybe they'll let us roll in some of our nuclear weapons, just to put there in case we want to fire them at our enemies sometime in the future. And those interballistic intercontinental missiles don't have as far to travel to get there. We can hit them before they can retaliate. Which is
Right.
basically what the Cuban Missile Crisis was about. And they were like a proxy of Russia to be able to do that
Absolutely.
much much closer than Russia. Um, but yeah,
That's why
several.
Russia. That's
Mhm.
why Russia and the Chinese government takes issue with this. Of
Oh
course,
yeah,
they didn't agree with the capture. And gee, I wonder
yeah,
why.
yeah,
um,
yeah. And then I've heard that many Venezuelans who have come to United States in the last 10 years, they're voting Republican. They're trying to be as opposite from what they've been under as possible. They're conservative. Um, Colombia, of course, is on the border of Venezuela, so naturally, many people have escaped, and it's a good thing. When this first started to happen, I just kind of stepped back and observed. The dust hadn't settled yet, and seen what the details were of this. First of all, in a military operation, everything never goes according to plan,
mm,
and there's a lot of chaos and zigzagging, and a lot to contend with. So before I take my first break here, I just want to mention it's remarkable that the military was able to go in a very short time. They fired all these missiles around within a couple miles of the base, creating a lot of noise, a tremendous amount of noise from the explosions, which was louder than the helicopters, the 4 or 5 helicopters that then dropped down over the base, so they didn't hear them coming. They're in there playing Yahtzee, eating pizza, whatever. Then all of a sudden, ding dong, hey, who's at the door? Open the door and surprise, we got you. I mean, I'm being a little
mhm,
silly, but
mhm.
they didn't see them coming, able to execute this without any American casualties at all. And I'll break after I say this. Back in September, I think it was, Maduro's on national television or on the radio, and he's challenging the United States and saying, "You'll never get me. Or you think I'm a criminal? You don't like what I'm doing? You think you want to take me out? Come get me."
Right, right. It was almost like, nah, 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 boo, boo, come get me.
Right? He really thought that he was safe and that this was an impossible feat. He is the most surprised out of his generals and everybody that's in that military base. Okay, man, we did what you said. We did what you said. And then he's walking into New York with a sleep mask on and handcuffs. And again, is very very lucky with what he did to his political opponents or people that just spoke out against him. Compared to that, we're treating him like he's at the Waldorf Astoria.
Mm, basically.
So it's a good thing. I made a decision a long time ago that yes, I don't want the United States to have to be the police of the world. However, if we're not, there's nobody else that will.
Mhm.
Somebody has to do it because we don't have one world order and one world government. Somebody has to do it. They have to run down and tackle these bad actors.
Yep.
You know, um, with them not being too far away from the United States. I'm going to be honest. I don't know all the charges and all the crime, everything that he violated with the
Narco
United States.
terrorism. Yeah. Narco terrorism,
Oh yeah,
conspiracy, plethora of
yeah.
crimes.
With for sure with these boats that have been attacked, which he is okay with, and the drugs that came from Venezuela that were sold in the United States. Him and the government got a big piece of the profit from that.
Absolutely.
It's the only way that those guys are able to get going. They're so corrupt. They're rolling in the mud constantly, washing each other and scratching each other's backs. You know. So yeah, not only is it a good thing for somebody like him to be captured, but a great message to be sent to the rest of the world with, of course, China and Putin watching this. Now, his military compound isn't the same as the Kremlin, but still, Trump said back, I don't know if he was even president yet or he was just running. He said, no more wars. I'm not trying to go to war and send our sons and daughters in to get blown up. If there's a country that he's really saying an imminent threat or someone that declared war on us, he said, what I would do is send in SEAL Team 6 and the Army Rangers and Special Forces to take out their leader. And if their lieutenants or the next in charge decide to rise up and take over the same thing, you kill the head of the snake
Yeah.
and every head that grows back after that.
Hmm.
And that in itself is minimizing American deaths, military deaths. And also, I mean, that's most important. But in addition to that, the amount of money that's being saved, because war is expensive. Just occupying, just us being in Spain, Italy, France is what, $1 million a day for every every location, something like that. And with war, with the factories and the assembly lines of missiles and ballistics, it's a very expensive thing.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
uh yeah, that's a good thing. um and then the other main thing I've been thinking about is the control of the oil. And I've listened to people that have had opinions about this that have made sense. Natural resources in the ground don't necessarily belong to you, I suppose, just because you're living on the surface of that area. But they were involved in that market of crude oil, and the amount of oil that is in Venezuela is supposed to be greater than all of the oil companies in OPEC combined.
Hmm.
So people, listen to me now, who think that blood oil, blood money, or whatever. That's the only reason we went there. Who better to own it or have control of it? Would you rather it be in the hands of them or the hands of a country like a United States? And that is not to necessarily say that the US government or the military would be trying to host it or protect it. Just let it let it be so that oil companies, I mean real companies that are in business, in the oil business, make money off of it. Let that be another source that they can go to. In other words, whoever, BP, Exxon, wherever, whatever the company is, Quick Trip. We have that down here in Atlanta. I think there are different parts of the country.
Oh yeah, I've
Uh,
seen that. Yeah. Hmm.
let them go in. Whoever can get to it first, like the gold rush, like the Sooners in California, whoever can get to a certain area that's got oil in the ground or maybe in the water. There are boats where they go out there and they build these huge oil drilling plants that go down into the water because there's oil under the ocean floor sometimes. Let them go in there, you know,
They
and
say natural
mhm.
resources change your world.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Very
for
true.
real. So much. I mean, just just looking at how the price of gas or how the Keystone pipeline being shut down just caused a chain reaction in the economy. Just
Yep.
how that affects travel and delivery and even people that aren't, not just the truckers, but the people that have to buy gas to go to work. So it really affects everybody on a certain level,
Hmm.
on a different level. So um I think that the U.S. should slow down, be careful, let this, it's still being set up and regulated and transitioning right now. So be real careful about that because you want to build a good structure, and then also not something that's going to be temporary that other bad actors like him can come in at any time and take it back over.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the flip side. That's the downside. That's the uncertainty. Is it going to be another Maduro that rises to power,
mm.
stealing elections?
Yeah, right, right. Whenever anyone says that 100% of society voted for them, always be skeptical because
Absolutely.
even in the U.S. where we have, the freest country there is, there's never been 100% voted one side. I think 40% of the country didn't vote for Kennedy, you know, and he's considered one of the greatest presidents ever. So, yeah, yeah, that it's a good thing. I mean, I don't live there, but I want people to be free. People they don't need to adopt uh our beliefs or whatever, but it's just a fact. More people have climbed out of poverty and become free under capitalism than any other system,
Absolutely.
right? And then whenever you see these socialists, Marxist, communist countries, which are kind of uh, different breeds of dog, but different versions of the same thing. The government always benefits. They always get rich, plenty of money. They don't have to want for anything. One of the best or worst examples of that is Kim Jong Un with as as
Mm,
as fat as he is,
yep.
and the people there starving.
Yep.
Grown men 110 pounds, women 90 pounds.
Hmm.
Where some people there they haven't they've gone so long without eating that their bodies are eating themselves,
Yeah.
and you can see their organs coming out, in some parts because the skin is wearing away,
Yeah. I
you
mean,
know.
that's why I say um, socialists are disguised. They really are disguised dictators. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
they,
a bridge to communism.
yeah, they starve everyone else and become rich. I mean, it was the same thing with Mugabe in Zimbabwe.
Mhm.
Um, People lost their farms, their
Yeah.
places. People went hungry, and he was a socialist. So
Yeah.
you gotta ask yourself. You gotta realize, um, does socialism work? Doesn't doesn't.
Historically, it never
It
has.
hasn't. I should
It
say
has.
that.
Yeah, and then the biggest argument that, I mean, American people that want to defend it or defend democratic socialism, uh the biggest argument that I have people say is the right people were not in charge. That's the reason that hasn't worked for the last 200 years. If we just get good people, but we know how absolute power can corrupt absolutely. And there are people who can go into office good, and then they get that power, meaning don't have the checks and balances
Hmm.
that need to be in place for people making decisions. And then if you don't have term limits or you can fix the election, I mean, what the hell can't you do?
Right.
You know? And then things get out of control where women are being kidnapped and brought to the palace so that the dude in power can have a big harem of concubines and all of this, and it never tapers off. It just gets
Mhm.
worse and worse.
And everybody suffers. Whole
Yeah.
country,
And so,
except
just
the rich.
these diehard Democrats, never Trumpers, and people that don't know history, they will criticize Trump because they don't like him or whatever, or say that he's a dictator.
Hmm.
No, if you really think that, just do a little research and look at the activity of Maduro over the last couple of years to see what a real dictator is. He, he's not trying to oppress people or take anything over. Um, I wish that Rubio had given a better answer when he was asked about who's in charge now and who's running the country. Yeah. In a revolution, you gotta have people in there in the interim, just to make sure, try to make the smoothest transition possible. Again, this is in good faith of what I'm hoping will happen. I believe that, I mean, as fast as this happened, I believe that in 6 months, um, things can be where the Venezuelan people are, running their own country, and um, we've trained soldiers before, like in Iraq. We trained them to fight off the enemy, and so we offer training and help for that. So, I don't know. Maybe I don't have enough information about it, but yeah, I'd say 6 to 9 months. We should be we should be pretty much out of there.
Hmm.
You know, and then if they want help, that's one thing. Or if they're, I don't know if they're a member of the United Nations, but come in there, say what you need, and then ask all the members, because we don't have to be the only ones to give help.
Right.
You know, um,
It kind of makes me wonder because I know the Biden administration didn't they increase the bounty for his capture?
yeah, it was. Well, that was a good point. Thank you for mentioning that, because I was going to say that his administration did put a bounty on Maduro's head. Um, I'm not certain about the numbers, but I think it got increased to like $12 million,
Hmm.
12
Yeah,
million or 20 million
it was like
to,
22 million or 20 million, something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all the Biden supporters, everybody, this is one thing that was kind of nonpartisan, that, that both administrations agreed on, and the U.S. military definitely agreed on, or the people that were providing intelligence to the White House about what's going on there.
Hmm. Yep.
So, um, yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about it. I don't know if I've been an investor in the stock market, and I know different events can affect the market, even on the other side of the world. Um, So let me start with this. So a week ago, I got gas 100. I'm sorry, 100. Like a dollar 75 a gallon. I'm in Atlanta. Dollar
Ah,
75 a gallon. Today I got gas, and it was like 145. So that may have been through speculation of the market, but with there being more oil to go around, and
Hmm.
the way the competition works, the people that are competing, the more players are in the game, they get in these price cutting wars where they keep dropping it lower and lower. That's really
Yeah.
what Black Friday is about.
Hmm.
They don't love us so much that they want us to be able to get a 70-inch TV for $280. They're trying to undercut the next guy.
Right.
So,
Plus
you
all
know,
that extra oil, well, that surplus of oil, it refills our reserves that Biden
yeah,
used up.
they're buying it used up. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I mean, oil affects everything. So, if you got some rich, spoiled kid and he's got an ATV or some other toy that he doesn't know how to handle, he's got a Segway or whatever, but he's hurting himself and other people, and he doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, you need to take it from him. Take it from him and let it go to somebody that's going to be more responsible with it.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, the focus will be on this of the media. Um, some of the work I do is media analysis, and we downgrade or give a low score to the media organizations that speculate on what will happen. But still pay attention to the speculations and the predictions, and when they bet on things that are going to go one way or another, that takes away from fact reporting and real news. But what does happen is real and is undeniable, and it's really what facts are. What makes facts a little different from truth.
Mhm.
Truth encompasses like everything that is good and right and what you should do and how you should live, and like Jesus is the truth. Facts have to do
Amen.
with a series of events that have
Right.
have occurred. And so, let's just pay attention to what happens in it. It can't be no worse, you know. It can't be no worse. Oh, what was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put that on. That was my
Oh,
phone.
okay. Oh,
It's
that's
silencer.
fine. That's fine. That's fine. We can take that out. That'll be able to come out later. So um we know that we're gonna be in front of an audience. Many people are hearing this and watching this. Put your comments in there. Comment on other people's comments. And if you want to send us something directly, you can always email at brutehonest.radio@gmail.com. So, I hope for the best. Always hope for the best. Try to prepare for the worst. Yeah, his trial, which hopefully will be starting very soon, and then also Tyler Robinson. Is that the name of the dude that
Oh,
shot Charlie Kirk?
Charlie Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah,
Supposedly, yeah.
they just like brought him in front of a judge within last week, and I
Oh, he's
can't
been
remember.
arraigned? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
I, I heard that it was going to be in January. So I'm anxious to see what he had to say. I've uh, I've heard some conspiracy, and I've seen a consistent thing among assassins or people accused of being assassins, where coincidentally, soon after the time they got raided, they also, or the time they got arrested, they raided their house and found a bunch of porn on their computers.
Mhm.
And so there's been some talk of this being uh, to to make them a victim, or make them uh, a villain in society right away. When I'm sure that Thomas Crooks, who shot Trump, who is not going to be able to go on trial or speak for himself at all now.
Mm.
Him and this guy Robinson were
Yeah.
put up to this
Oh,
to be
absolutely.
able to, I mean, this guy, I can't remember if he was in the military. I want to say Robinson was, but the I mean, look at the difference here. Um Crooks fired 6 or 7 shots, hit one through the ear, but wasn't able to take out his target, and then he gets taken out. Secret Service there on site. This other guy, the very first, the single shot that he fired, takes out this man. To be able to pull that off, and then there be it was a few days, bless you,
Hmm. Thank you.
a few days before they caught him. Before they caught him and reeled him in. So I wanna see what he has to say, and hope that justice is served.
Yeah.
People that are on the jury of high profile cases like this, they have a civil and ethical obligation to society to not be influenced or feel like there's pressure on them to vote a certain way. Don't try to, you see it's 8 to 12. Don't go with the majority just because you want to get back to work. We have to, or someone's fate is hanging in a balance, but also you want to get to the truth. if
Absolutely.
i if i vote that somebody is guilty, I want to be 100% sure
Hmm. You have to be.
from multiple things that I've seen in evidence and witnesses. That doesn't hurt either. Also like it when the one is on trial, when they don't plead the fifth and they do decide to take the stand, because people that plead the fifth and then don't say anything, like OJ Simpson or whoever it is, they're
Mhm.
advised to do that by their lawyers. And it says in the Miranda rights, because you feel like it will incriminate you. In other words, if I get up here and start talking and actually answering questions inside of 5 minutes, everybody's going to think I'm guilty.
Right.
So, if I'm innocent of the crime that I'm accused of, and I'm looking at the death penalty or life in prison, please ask me questions, whatever you want for the next 6 hours, you know, because I'm innocent, but somebody's got something to cover up. Well, answering questions are uh, going to incriminate them. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I guess I'll transition here from as I was saying, there's been some conspiracy talk of these assassins being the tip of a spear, or just the head of something that goes deep deep rooted underground in the dark and out of sight.
Hmm.
And something that I just heard last week, somebody mentioning in a podcast, the Illuminati, which they're almost that group is almost described as some kind of a mystical, magical, smoky force that nobody can see, and that's part of the problem with this. So for those of you who don't know, for whatever reason, you may be very young. Illuminati is supposed to be a force, an organized force that is controlling things, and like Black Peter, the evil Santa Claus comes and takes people out in the middle of the night. Instead of wearing white and red, he's wearing black and green, and he comes and takes away the bad kids. Nobody knows what happens. There's never any witnesses or any of that. So please, people, educate me. I want to hear about this. If you really feel like this is something that's true and real, unlike the mafia, who have names and they have faces that we can see. But that they're controlling Hollywood or whatever. So just a few of the things that I've heard about this that doesn't make sense to me is like the secret societies or the skulls, that they
The open society.
right, people, they sell their souls or they compromise themselves. There's video of them doing stuff that would put them away, and so for fear of that getting out, they play along with what they're told to do, with what they're asked to do. But one thing is, I heard this thing about the country is run by a panel of old white men. They're running everything. And when I think of that, I think of, like, 12 guys. I don't know why, but I see the number 12 for some reason. One second.
Yeah.
A coworker once, he really believed this, and said it with conviction. This country is run by a panel of old white men. So my first question: how old do you have to be on this panel? What do you consider old? What is that? Yeah. If you believe that George W. is on this panel, at what age did he qualify? You know, like, you got to be 35 to be president. You got to be 21 to drink. How do you define old to be on this panel? Then how do you define white?
Right. Right.
What is that? Because for all intents purposes, white is really European. I remember reading in history books, some ignorant, racist people or oppressive people a couple 300 years ago were talking about, for somebody to be white, that there could be no one other than Europeans on both sides of your family for 8 generations or something like that. So,
But there's
uh,
white South Africans. There's white
uh,
Africans. Like,
yeah, yeah, right, right. Well, that's what we
yeah.
consider as a race of,
Hmm.
people's origin, where
Right.
the people come from. But yeah, for
Right.
sure,
Right.
Elon is an African American. Yeah,
Great example of that.
yeah. So,
African American.
uh, old white men. How old do you have to be on this panel? If it's a secret society, how does stuff ever get out? How do things ever get out and escape? And then if one or two guys say some things that they're not supposed to say, and they know it, we never find out who they are. If this disappears,
Mhm.
they will. They said something they weren't supposed to say, but there's a hit on them where they're going to be taken out in the next month, and for the last 30 days of their life, they want to take it to their grave, whatever it is. They don't want to talk. They don't want to talk about it. So people just make stuff up. I think some people really genuinely want to believe conspiracy theories and folklores, because it just sounds ominous and dramatic. And then I would say, because I've heard that this panel of old white men is controlling even what the president does. They tell him what to do. Oh, okay.
Right there.
So great. How about this? Take your biggest criticism of Trump, whatever he did, whatever he said, and you have to blame them. And he's not at all held responsible because they're in control and they told him to do it. Just present that to someone that would tell that to you, and they're like, oh, no, 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 that's different. That's an exception. No, like, you're contradicting your own rules, whatever
Right.
you're saying. If you really believe that they're running everything, then you have to you got to be all in. You got to say that politicians everything that they've done, they're puppets, and they're given their walking papers. So yeah, again, I may be ignorant of some of this or the rules about how this game works, but again, people are welcome to put comments in there or to send us an email and and let us know. It's just, things don't work like that. Like you can't have a lot of power and be so big and you're faceless and nameless. Now, I heard the idea a few days ago that Elon Musk is not the richest person in the world. And so that they basically did some kind of a Gallup poll or worldwide survey asking people to report their income. And so, like, I don't believe that there are any trillionaires. Some people believe that they are. And just to be clear, $1 trillion is 1,000 billion. Elon has 245 billion. He's never going to see. He's never going to make it to a trillion. Apple Computer, okay, the company Apple, the first reported company to be worth a trillion, but look at the massive sales that they have in their products worldwide to get there, and that's not one person's wealth. That's an entire, corporation. The tremendous amount of money that iPad and iPhone and the Macintosh computer have made over
Mhm.
years. A company that was birthed in the 80s
Right.
hit a trillion in the last 10 years. So I know Biden said we got trillionaires and billionaires, right? But he can't name any of them. He can't name any of them. No. Which he is rich. I don't care if you got a million or a billion. If you got a million, you're rich. Nothing to want for. So hey, that's all I got on that. What are your thoughts, or what are some of the things you may have heard, or how you feel about Illuminati or any secret society like the Skulls?
Whatever. I've heard a lot, actually. Um,
Mm.
I hear it's something that starts as simple as a tap on the shoulder. And if
Oh,
you
this
get
this
that,
sounds really interesting. Come on
if
now.
you get that tap, you're in the club, so to speak. You're
And
part.
so, would this be like at a cocktail party or a fundraiser or a banquet, where someone would come up and go, "Hey, Shayna."
I've heard it takes place at like Yale and like Ivy League schools.
Mhm.
Um, but I've heard that it starts with a simple tap, and they know who you are before you get that tap. Like they've
Oh, sure.
studied this person. Of course, this person is comes from money, from wealth. So I've I've heard those conspiracies.
So let's walk this out a little bit. So after the tap, what's next? Is the tapper and the tappy go to a back room and maybe have a little conversation?
Yeah, that's what I heard. They have secret meetings.
Yeah.
Um, it's all conspiracy based. But that's what I've heard. Um,
How much power have you heard that any of them have, or anything in recent history that they may have been responsible for?
I hear they have um, the power to select presidents. Um,
Like
yeah,
like Kamala Harris, or ones that
uh
actually get
huh,
nominated.
yeah.
I
Um,
mean, delegates.
Right. She didn't get any.
They wanted her to make history. She did. The first one ever.
0-2 in primaries. We have the same
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I've heard that Holly Weird is connected. Again, it's a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
I tell you one that I just consider a conspiracy and not even a theory is Pelosi being worth $170 million and her salary as Speaker of the House was $170,000 was her salary working in Congress, but her net worth $100 million, and that's from her stock picks.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was more than that.
she all but said that she is involved in insider trading.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her and her husband. You know, she got a question at a press conference one time on a mic at a podium.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it was about, but she was like, "Yeah, it's okay to you find out what a particular corporation is going to do 2 or 3 days in advance," and then I don't know if she just realized what she actually said, but then just walked away from the microphone. You know. Yeah, and then people like Warren Buffett and other Wall Street tycoons are flabbergasted. They're like coming to her for advice. They're like, "What's your secret?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how did you do it? What's your formula?" And so there are guys who have like the Pelosi list of stocks to choose. Blue chip. We're not talking about penny stocks. You're talking about Forbes, Delta Airlines, whatever, and you know nobody is that lucky for years
Right.
on end. They're just hitting it on the nose every time. When they see people like her at Vegas, they come out after an hour and just tackle them around the knees. Take her and that broken slot machine out of here. We're gonna take them in the back and figure out what's really going on. What the hell is happening right now? It's so suspect.
Well, just like our new governor she couldn't remember whether she made $7 million or not during.
Oh, tell me about her.
Mikey Sherrill. She's a pilot.
Oh, okay. For like commercial airline or private?
She was in the Navy.
Okay.
She has a Navy background, so. But I remember she went on the Breakfast Club. Couldn't answer a lot of questions. They asked her if did she make $7 million from insider trading.
Oh.
And
what was her answer?
It was like a Scooby-Doo response. So.
What's insider trading? What's that?
Right.
Get them to explain it to you, and then it's easier to act stupid. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much pilots make, and that's why I asked like how long she had been a pilot. I worked for Delta a long time ago, and at that time, the pilots made more money than anybody in the company. And there were, I met a few directors that were making six figures easily, and that was kind of their policy of putting the pilot first and recognizing that we don't have an airline unless we have good pilots. We take care of them. So yeah, Michael Milken, they didn't have any problem nabbing him, but he wasn't a politician. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. And then he got sent to minimum security prison, where it was like, they don't really lock the doors. The floors have carpet on them. The walls are 3 feet high. Like, okay, you fellas, you stay over here now, and we're gonna have some backgammon at 3 o'clock and have some racquetball tonight. It's gonna be served right before bingo with some muffins and hot tea. Yeah, he was supposed to do 10 years, at the most. So I guess he got out a long time ago. Um, Maybe did 6 or 7 with good behavior.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. So hey, that's it. Like I said, I have, and you obviously also have been hearing about this for years, and it is just just wacky stuff.
Hmm.
People, I like getting to the root of things, and so much can be passed down the line from 10 different people, and nobody ever gets out of line. They just get their information from the last person who told them. And then, by the time it gets to the 10th person, it's morphed into something else. So when people say things to you, and I'm talking to the audience now, don't just jump right in. Don't just be believing stuff. I don't care if it's your mother.
Hmm.
Ask questions. Say, how do you know this? Well, it's a secret. Oh, if it's a secret, then how do you know about it?
Right.
I mean, we're
Right.
low
Right.
level. We're like five levels removed from Washington D.C. or wherever these people work or they live, and this thing squeezed through the cracks and then got out to where just the everyday person is able to find out about it.
Right.
So
That's a
yeah,
good point. If it's a secret, how do you know about it? That's an
yeah,
excellent point.
yeah, yeah. Because there are real secrets with conspiracy theories that have been kept and taken to the grave, and one such example is a Kennedy assassination.
Hmm.
Where he was obviously hit from different angles, and then there's the
Which
magic
den-
bullet.
which
Hmm?
which denotes more than one shooter.
Oh yeah, yeah, right, right. Oh yeah, and then I just found this out last year, like 10, 12 people that were on a grassy knoll or on the curb, on both sides of the street that day. There's like 12 witnesses that died in car accidents, or that died in a mysterious way. I mean, young
Hmm.
people, young
Yeah.
people that just disappeared and died in a what's the word, like a freak accident,
Hmm.
over the next 10 years.
Mm.
I don't believe in strong coincidence. If it's intentional, it can't be coincidence. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, like somebody is such a small segment of a group in history that they would witness such a thing and they would get killed in a very unusual way, you know, 12
Yeah.
or 15 of them. Yeah. And they, the younger people, because they're going to live longer. The older people that are there that witnessed it, we don't really care about them because they're not going to be around too much longer, you
Hmm.
know. And then when they start babbling, people will say, "Oh, dementia," they're just, they're losing their mind. They don't really remember things that they think they saw, or what
Right.
they, what supposedly happened.
Right.
Yeah, so hey, that's all I got. I think we put together a pretty good show. I want to remind people to follow us on Facebook. There's a Brutally Honest Talk Radio group on Facebook. Also on Twitter, you can follow us, and then different places that you can catch this show outside of YouTube is Amazon, iTunes, and Spotify. And then if you follow us on Libsyn uploads to multiple platforms, and on the Libsyn page, you could just listen to audio there. Which is great for if you're driving and not able to watch, or you're cleaning the house, constantly moving around. So, well, Shayna, thank you for being a guest on this show again. Um, we're gonna have you back hopefully one day soon,
Okay.
and find out more about you. I'm sure you have multiple interesting stories to tell. So
Okay.
I look forward to that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Well,
everybody. Again, go ahead.
thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Always a pleasure. Everybody, take care. Take care of yourselves and of each other, and we'll catch you on the next episode.